Well, hello, everybody. Coach Griffin here with Legacy Fitness. And today I am beyond excited to welcome someone truly special to the podcast, a powerhouse in the world of women's fitness, a trusted mentor, and one of the most dedicated coaches that I've ever had the privilege of working with. Coach Kim is a leading expert in women's health and fitness, specialized in helping women between the ages of 45 and 65 reclaim their strength, gain back their energy and confidence, especially during perimenopause and menopause, when most women are told to simply accept the decline. Not on her watch. She's got different news for you. So, decades of experience, Coach Kim has helped hundreds, and I mean hundreds of women lose weight, balance their hormones, build lean muscle, and finally feel in control of their bodies again. She's not just a coach, she's the difference maker in programs. No nonsense approach. She blends science, compassion, and accountability, and the results speak for themselves. So, whether it's creating personalized programs, simplifying nutrition for real life success, or just helping women believe in themselves again, Coach Kim, I'm here to tell you that she shows up unmatched. She's on the front lines of real transformations today, and she's here to share her expertise on hormones and why we need a new way to look at things, and what you were doing in the past might not be what you need to be doing today. So she's going to talk today about 7 strategies that you can implement. Let's give a warm welcome to the GOAT, Kim Madden.
Geez, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to be here.
I had to edit what I wanted to say. So that was a simplified version.
Well, thank you.
Well, we're here to hear from you. I know you came to this podcast with 7 strategies that you can implement. I'm just going to throw it to you. Take over here, Coach Kim.
Perfect. Well, first of all, ladies, I want to tell you, you're not imagining it. Your body does change over time. And when you finally start seeing the difference in your body than what it used to be, this stuff has started slowly, even way before these symptoms have kind of shown up in the perimenopause. So if you've been doing what you've always done, or maybe even more, right? You're working out more, you're walking more, you're trying to eat cleaner, you probably even cut your calories, but that weight keeps creeping up. These are the women that I talk to every single week. So first of all, you're not alone, but it's not your metabolism. And I wanted to clean that up right away, because a lot of us just think, you know what? It's my age, it's my metabolism, it's slowing down. I just have to accept it. And actually, new science is saying that our metabolism is pretty stable from, get this, 17 to late 60s, early 70s,
Wow.
which is good news because we have a little bit more control over it. And it's not just this thing happening to us. But what is happening is our hormones are changing. This is something that you need to check in on, those hormones, when you go in for your yearly exam, for sure. But I'm going to be talking about the 7 strategies to help you navigate this extra belly fat, weight, all this kind of stuff, which we can do things about starting today. So what is going on underneath is that our progesterone and our estrogen is dropping as we age. Those are the 2 main hormones that make us a woman, right? And what happens when that changes is that's the buffer for our cortisol level as well. It keeps our cortisol level under control, along with a bunch of other stuff. But now all of a sudden our cortisol level is higher than it ever has been as progesterone and estrogen start to drop. What else happens? We become more insulin resistant. What the heck does that mean? It means that you can gain belly fat faster than ever. And so it probably is making a little bit more sense that this is why this increase in belly fat, why you're seeing this suddenly. And on top of it all, your muscle has been decreasing. So it's like the perfect storm, and muscle decreases for a couple reasons. One is that sarcopenia, which comes with aging. It just naturally kind of decreases over time. The other one is atrophying. Atrophying is when you're recovering from an illness, you have a surgery that you're recovering from, and you're a whole lot less active because guess what? You just don't feel as great as you did in your 20s and 30s and early 40s. So now your body is not as efficient at burning calories. And it's that perfect storm that you're sitting there going, what is going on? I'm here to assure you that you're not broken. You just need a different strategy going into this next chapter. So
Absolutely.
So 7 steps, and I'm going to start with the top 3, and I put these in order. The last 4, I think, are all equally important. But the first one, and this is the one that probably takes the biggest mindset shift, and
Okay.
it's tracking everything that you're doing. Track it for like 14 days so you know what's going on. You cannot change what you don't acknowledge. So when I'm talking about tracking, I'm not talking about eyeballing things. I'm talking about literally pulling out your food scale and tracking and weighing and measuring things so you can get an accurate picture of what's going on. Why is this important? So you don't fling yourself off of a cliff, and you can literally set 1% goals that are achievable and you can feel great about. But you know where you are so you can meet yourself there and then move slowly. And this is where I think it's really important that a lot of women do this, because we're social beings and we like to chat with our friends, but we may be hopping on the plan that your friend has, and you're like going, what's going on? That plan doesn't work. My body must be broken. Well, ladies, we are all wonderful individual creatures, and we all require a different program. So you could have 10 women. I could have 10 women with their exact same age, height, and weight, and you'd all be at different calories, macros, because of everything from genetics, biology, muscle, all of it. So you're unique, and that's a wonderful thing. So you need to track to know where you are to even begin the process. So do yourself a favor, track everything you're doing for 2 weeks. All right.
So stop the guessing.
Yes. Stop the bleeding, right? And yeah. So track, because here's what we're doing. Women are either way under eating, thinking that they have to starve themselves because nothing else is working, or you're over consuming those healthy calories that you're thinking, I'm eating healthy. What's going on? You're probably over consuming healthy calories. So 2, prioritize protein. And I can't stress this enough. I feel like the biggest protein pusher on the planet. I know I'm a complete nag about it. And it's critical for women 45 and up. We cannot have the same protein that we were eating in our 20s and 30s. We can't have the same anything that we were doing in our 20s and 30s. But we have, we're going through this and we become anabolic resistant, which means our body does not process protein the way it did in our younger days, which means we need more of it. We need that protein to support that muscle that's been slowly decreasing. It also helps us feel more satisfied and satiated. It's the only macronutrient we do not store as body fat, ladies. We need more protein. And there's a lot of talk out there about what's enough, what's too much, and the new science all says we need 30 to 50 grams, especially for those big meals. Breakfast is a big one. We need to break our fast with 30 to 50 grams of protein. We're not getting enough. And when it comes to that protein, I'm picky about the protein because it's made up of amino acids, and there's 9 essential for muscle, but there's that one important one called leucine. We only get it from animal-based protein. There's a few protein shakes out there that have it, but if you're eating real food, it's going to satisfy you a whole lot more up here. Is that it has that thermodynamic effect of food, which means you burn calories actually eating it. It helps you feel fuller longer. You don't have the cravings because you're more satisfied, and lo and behold, wow, you start getting full, eating more calories, body fat goes down, belly fat starts going away, you start feeling stronger in the gym, your muscles start popping. So it's a big freaking deal.
Let me ask you this. You've worked with hundreds and hundreds of women over the last 15, 20 years. Have you ever worked with someone where you said, you need to stop eating so much protein? Or is it every person?
No, I haven't.
Right. So there's a rule of thumb. You're not eating enough is the gist of it.
So we overconsume our body weight in protein.
Yeah.
So ladies, you can't eat enough unless you're just like this carnivore that, just loves chowing on steak or something. The other thing is, let me tap into this. Vegetarian. There's nothing wrong with vegetarian protein. However, a couple things. A lot of vegetarian protein does not have all 9 essential amino acids for muscle building. The other thing is is that sometimes when we're going for those brown beans, baked beans, legumes, things like that, we'd have to consume so much of it to get the adequate amount of protein. Now we're over consuming calories. So animal-based protein is the best bet and the easiest fast track to your results. Okay.
Awesome.
Three is lifting weights. It goes hand in hand with that protein, and you can't get around it. It doesn't matter if you like it. It doesn't matter if you were born a weightlifter. What you need to really lift heavy things. But there's also a strategy around this that kind of changes as we get older, and it kind of taps into that cortisol level, that stress hormone. Ladies, we do not need to be working out 6-7 times a week, doing doubles and triple workouts and stuff like that. If you do the first one right, you don't have enough energy to do 2 or 3 more. And that rep range for that hypertrophy, that muscle growth, is between 6 and 12. The 6 kind of surprised me recently, but it's kind of that sweet spot. And we want to really make sure that when we're getting our sets in, that we're leaving just a couple in the tank, and we're looking for that progressive overload. We want to continue to build strength. It's one of those things, track it. Track it. If you're still using the exact same dumbbells that you did 5 months ago to do your curls, you need to up those. Now, if you come to Legacy, they're going to keep you on track here because they watch all that. But muscle, we need to build it. We need to stop the sarcopenia, and it can't be stopped with weightlifting and protein, along with that atrophying. It's that, I mean, my goodness, for health span and lifespan, muscle. And don't worry, you're not going to get bulky. Too many men have tried for too many years for you to think that you can do it in a month. It's not going to happen. So those are the top 3 non-negotiables. Make them non-negotiable. And then I would say for the next 4, these are all kind of lumped together, but they all have an importance. Cardio. Cardio gets a bad freaking rap. But I think it's the old cardio, the cardio that I grew up with in the 60s, 70s, 80s, where you're doing all this stuff for hours upon hours upon hours. You don't have to do that. HIIT cardio is actually really good for bone density, to ward off osteoporosis and all that kind of stuff. But that's like, at the end of a workout or a couple times a week where you're going really hard for 20 seconds, you're recovering, and you're doing that for 10 to 20 minutes. You're not out running marathons unless you love running marathons. I'm not telling you to stop training like that, but you don't need that for what we're talking about today, which is muscle growth, dropping belly fat, and getting in the best shape of your life. Walking, so underrated. Walk your tail off, man. And that 10,000 steps is not a magical number. It's a number to make sure that you're moving throughout your day. Right. And I would say that's, in the grand scheme of things, probably low, especially in the summer in a cold state. Get out there and move as much as you can.
It's funny how things change just in the fitness industry in general. I know that when I first got into the industry, I would almost make fun of people who walked. Now that's my top recommendation for people because the benefits are just huge.
You can do it. It's low impact. You can do it for forever. And I truly believe it's one of those things that if you don't stay in motion, you will eventually lose your ability to do it. And there's nothing more terrifying to me, if you've ever been to a nursing home or old folks home, all the people that cannot get out of the chair. So just move. And 5,000, if you're not tracking your steps, do it for a little bit. 5,000 steps or less, you're living a sedentary life. There's lots of negative stuff that comes with that. Lots and lots and lots. So just stay active, keep moving, park further away from any place you're going. You can do that neat exercise by just staying active. That non-exercise activity, just move more. And then manage your cortisol level. Cortisol, man, it's like freaking killing us early. It is killing us early. Besides the fact, like I said earlier, your progesterone and estrogen has been dropping, leaving us more vulnerable to cortisol spikes. And our body becomes really efficient at storing body fat when our cortisol level is high. We need to do whatever it is. So if you're feeling stressed all the time, what I would absolutely recommend is take out a piece of paper. I call it brain dumping. Write down everything that you're stressed out about. And then go through the list. What do you actually have control over? Maybe it's something you have control over. Start doing something towards that. Maybe you need to, delegate things. Maybe you need to have conversations, and maybe you just need to change your perspective on what's going on. Maybe you need to practice some meditation, some deep breathing, some not saying yes to every single thing that people ask you to do. Learn how to say no. Don't stress yourself out, because it's just shortening your lifespan and making you fat. Okay.
Simple. Those are good. Neither of those are good.
Nothing. And then this one, don't hate me. Don't hate me. I'm going to talk about alcohol and how our body just doesn't, our body just doesn't respond to it like it used to. Now, has it always been poison? Of course it has. But our body responds to it really differently. I would say late 40s, early 50s is where I really started noticing it. And if you're in menopause and you're dealing with any sort of hot flashes, well, stoke the fire every single time you take a cocktail. And I mean, it strikes your, it increases your cortisol because you're not sleeping if you're having those cocktails. And this is where I say, don't hate me. The science is showing 1 to 2 drinks a week has this kind of effect on us as we age. And our body just doesn't metabolize it the way it used to. So we don't sleep as well. We have hot flashes more and more and more. It's like you take a drink and it goes right to your belly. All of that. It's alcohol. Try to reduce it as much as you can, switch it out for different things. And this isn't about hating on it or demonizing it. I want you to make great choices for your healthy lifestyle, and everybody's healthy lifestyle looks a little bit different. But some people's body is going to respond a little bit differently than others. But take a gander at it, look at it, and see what you got going on there. And then it kind of ties into this last thing, and this is where I usually call myself the fun sucker, because it's sugar, it's flour, it's the processed foods, it's the low fiber foods. Low fiber foods gush insulin into our bloodstream. Insulin, once again, it's our hormone that says store body fat. And as we become more insulin resistant, get this, we are so much more prone to type 2 diabetes because of these changes in our hormones. We don't need to give ourselves any help. That sugar, flour sometimes even trumps sugar, but we need to start increasing that fiber to slow down that gush of insulin, and it reduces cravings. Have you ever noticed that? I think at any age, if you start eating a lot of sugar, all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I want sugar. If I have like fresh bakery bread, I think about fresh bakery bread for the next 3 days. We don't crave generally things like broccoli and asparagus, and even like strawberries. You might crave it for the day, but you're not going to go through the day going, oh my gosh, when can I, get this hit of stuff? But we want to increase our fiber. Now, ladies, once again, goes back to the tracking. Track your sugar, track your fiber. Sugar should be below 40 grams. If you haven't been tracking your sugar, that can be a shocker for some. And fiber, we're not getting enough, ladies. It needs to be 25 to 30 grams. What you're probably going to find is some days are high, some days are low. There's a supplement out there called Sun Fiber that I use on the days that when you're pre-tracking and it's really low, it helps. But all of that fiber helps our gut health. What does gut health have to do with hormones? Gut health is the thing that if our gut isn't healthy, and a lot of women, I know you're out there and you're constipated because that's what happens too. That's fiber and water. But if we don't have good gut health, like 90% of disease is stemming from our gut and the inflammation in our gut. We need to reduce inflammation in our body. Increase protein, increase fiber, increase activity, increase lifting, and you're going to start looking freaking amazing, and not just looking great, but absolutely feeling the best you have in years or ever.
Incredible. You are an encyclopedia, and it is always a pleasure talking with you. 7 steps, ladies. Implement these 7 steps, and the world's not going to recognize you. Coach Kim, thank you so much. Say that again.
You can start slow, and you can start moving into that.
Knock out those first 3.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you so much, Coach Kim, for joining us.
See ya.
Take care.